Before we started, I wanted to give a shout out to this person right here. So their comment is on the screen. This actually kind of sparked the entire plot to this story, so thank you very much. Okay, yeah, chapter 1. Rio stares at you from across the room, annoyance playing on her western features. She watched as you sketched a hand, not a very good one at that. You know, she starts, we should actually go out instead of being cooped up in your room all weekend. You cocked an eyebrow at her, watching her walk toward your bed. You want to go out, as in, like, socialize? Her mouth hung open as she chucked a pillow at you. You dodged and laughed, setting your mechanical pencil on your desk. Fine. Where do you want to go? Rio grinned, pulling up something on her phone. My friend from E-class is throwing a pool party to celebrate winning midterms. You rolled your eyes, an obvious no. Oh, come on, it'll be fun. She whined. You scoffed. In 70-degree weather? Yeah, it's freezing. This time, she rolled her eyes. Okay, but his pool has a heating system. You almost gagged. It's Akabane's house, isn't it? She watched you with a shy but knowing smile. Maybe? Oh, yeah, definitely not. Please? She pouted, actually puckered her lips and batted her eyelashes, but you were having none of it. Karma Akabane was the most insufferable person on the entire planet, and the crazy thing was, you didn't even know him that well. He was some random guy that just so happened to end up being in E-class along with your best friend. And they somehow got along. It would always be a mystery as to how exactly they became friends, but that's beside the point. Just because they were friends didn't insinuate that you were friends. Ever since you'd met him at some pizza party the teacher had thrown to start off the beginning of the year, you'd found him intolerable. And that's saying something, considering you were friends with Rio Nakamura. You smiled at your own thought, but it was quickly replaced with a frown as karma came back into your mind. Yeah, no way were you going to his house. I'd rather die before I give Akabane the privilege of seeing me in a swimsuit. Why in? Dang it, you hated when she said your name like that. It was like the woman didn't know when to unhook her claws. With a rugged breath you inhaled, then said, Fine, but I refuse to get into the pool. I will sit comfortably on one of the seat things they have out there. How do you even know he'll have one of those things? She asked, preparing one of your old t-shirts to wear. He's rich, isn't he? Yeah, but still. Lucky guess. You crinkled your nose together and forced a smile. And if he doesn't, I'll just leave. No. She looked at you with puppy eyes. Sighing again, you let out a breath. Fine. You'll force him to let me inside. Me? She raised an eyebrow, and you felt mild heat form on your cheeks. Yeah, you mocked, forcing the heat away. There's no way I'd ask him. You looked away from her face, narrowing your eyes, in annoyance. It'd just feed his already too big ego. She laughed, from her sitting position at your drawers. All right, fine. You win. Let's stop by the store on the way. I want to get brownies or something. Yeah, whatever. Just hurry up. You sat back down, finishing the hand you were drawing before. Later, about 1,000 years later, Rio said it was time to go. Your annoyance had filtered through your room and left you with nothing but contentment as you'd finished the hand you were drawing. Your pencil's only companion was the eraser that was almost worn. You hoped you still had at least one more, but if you didn't, that meant you need to buy some, before Monday preferably. As promised, you and Rio stopped at a convenience store where she bought 24 meat buns. You graciously took one and finished eating it by the time you approached Karma Akabane's front door. Just being here, knowing this was his house, that he owned everything here, and you were taking up temporary residence because he'd invited your friend, felt like admitting defeat. I wasn't even invited. He probably won't even let me in, even if it is just to spite me. You detested. Rio waved you off as she walked up the steps, meat bun bag in one hand, her other knocking on the steel blue door. He won't. I asked if you could come over before you left. You felt your eyes narrow. You hated being on this side of the stick. The at his mercy side of the stick. The he's got all the power and you're defenseless side of the stick. Oh, the things you did for your best friend. Before you could turn tail and run as far away from this place as your limb legs could carry you, the front door opened. It was winter, so thankfully you didn't get as many stares as you would during the summer or spring walking into a posh neighborhood like this, dressed as you were. Nakamura! An all too familiar, cheerful voice spoke. Hey Karma, where are the others? She asked, stepping into his home, as if it were hers. It disgusted you to think she treated him as she did you. You were her best friend. Not some arrogant, obnoxious, posh psycho. Akabane was still out of view because you had not yet climbed the stairs, and though it was but as cold, you couldn't bring yourself to take a single step forward. Not yet. Hey, Ellen, he said from above, and damn it, you looked up. He was dressed in vermilion and sapphire board shorts, clad with nothing. No, seriously, your jaw almost dropped, but thankfully, your vomit stayed in your throat. This time, you'd probably sneak off to the bathroom later to relieve yourself, though. Akabane, you acknowledged, then walked up the steps and right past him as if he were a gust of wind, a tiny nuisance in your day. Nice to see you, too. He breathed as you passed him, but you knew him too well to take it seriously. As soon as you walked through the door, you were met with a staircase that swirled around as it led upward. You walked past it, rounding the left corner into the living room. Ria was already outside. You could see her from the angle you stood. You went to sit your things down in the kitchen, where she had placed the meat bun bag. You didn't bother taking in the scenery. You didn't even want to be here, so you wanted to remember as little of it as possible. You heard footsteps, particularly because he was not wearing socks, and because his floor was actual wood. Not like those fake floor stickers, because it made noise with each step he took. Of course, you noticed this when you had been walking, but you did little to acknowledge him as you had at the door. He walked around the counter you sat at, toward the fridge. The silver thing screamed money, and again you rolled your eyes. Water? He spoke simply, not too loud, not too quiet, not too annoying, but nothing less either. Fine, thanks. You replied shortly, your hand diving into the meat bun bag again. He shut the fridge and turned, walking up to the counter and propping his hands on the desk as if bracing himself. You knew he didn't like you as much as you didn't like him. Of course, you didn't think about it too much. You did everything in your power to avoid anything to do with him. He watched you chew on the meat bun, and you watched the counter directly behind him. Swallowing, you finally looked up to meet his eyes. Yes? His thin-lipped frown quirked slightly, as if he was trying to hold back an irked smile. If you need me, I'll be outside with the others. 'Kay, but I won't. Karma rounded the corner and approached you, you matching his height as you sat in the chair, maybe a little taller. You really pissed me off. As if you don't piss me off. The only reason I extended the invitation to you is because of Nakamura. Do you wish me to leave? Frowns on both of your faces, one a glare, the other a scowl. No, he grit out, trying his best at a smile that wouldn't seem to form. A grin edged its way onto your mouth. The evil little thing made Karma think twice about letting you stay instead of kicking your ass out into the freezing cold. Exactly. He stalked off, you watching as he walked, his shoulders tense, your shoulders aching from going rigid at his proximity. The obnoxious snob was worse than Gakushu Asano. Thank the gods you could avoid him with your position in B class. Hell, that was really the only reason you weren't in A class, was because you wanted to avoid people like Akabane and Asano. Absolute buffoons they were.